If you've been taking flamenco classes and at some point you struggled and asked for advice, I'm sure you've heard at least one of these. Just listen. Feel it. Don't count. Just repeat it again and again. Your step, your falsetto, it will come. Or just have fun. None of these are wrong, but if that's all you get, they won't take you anywhere because they are not really advice. They are just slogans without instructions. The problem is not the advice itself. The problem is that these phrases are not really instructions. They don't tell you what to do, how to do it, what to listen for, or why it works or why it doesn't. So if your goal is to stay confused, learn slowly, and depend on your teacher forever, stick around. Today I'll give you some of the best advice you can find. Hi, this is Guillermo Guillen for FlamencoMAPS. Welcome to my channel. Most of these phrases and many others like them, like let it come from the heart, are not wrong, but they describe what happens at the end of the process, not how to get there. And if you treat them as instructions or worse as shortcuts, you stay stuck because those shortcuts don't exist. Good instruction should do at least one of these. Guide your attention, give you a process, or help you understand what's happening. If it doesn't, it's not advice, it's not instruction, it's just a slogan. And this connects to something I've talked about in other videos. Learning always moves through 3 phases. You understand, you practice, you internalize. Then it loops. Good instruction should help you at least at one of these stages. Ideally, it helps you move between them. If it doesn't, you're stuck. And there is something else behind all of this. Not everyone learns the same way. Not everyone has the same background, the same tools, the same process. And most of us, at least here in this channel, are adult learners. And that changes everything. Many great flamenco artists learn from childhood. They absorb things without needing anybody to explain them. And often they don't even remember how they learned. But if you are starting later from another culture, sometimes without a musical background, you need more clarity. Your brain needs logic, connections, real information, not mystery. You need tools, you need structure, you need guidance, not empty pseudo-advice. There are many of these slogans, but let's look at a few of the most common ones. And let me know in the comments which ones you've heard and which ones never really helped you. And maybe the ones that helped you. By the way, if you like my content, my videos, my YouTube channel, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, it helps a lot. Thank you so much. Just listen and feel it. Don't think, turn off your brain. It's already hard when you try to meditate, right? So imagine doing that while learning how to dance polbureria, for example. The problem is that your brain doesn't work that way. You can't just shut it off and just receive sound, embrace the signal and make sense of it. You need to know what to listen to and how to listen to it. It can be recognizing the end of a melodic line, the start of a new structural element, a change in tempo, or any musical cue that helps orient yourself within the compass. But you need to know what to listen to. Where is the break? The break is at the level of understanding. You are being asked to feel without being given anything to understand first. No handle. If you miss this step, you will probably miss most of what's happening. Many times, especially in flamenco, which is a very complex art form, as you know, you can't jump straight to feeling something you don't understand. It's like asking you to feel a poem in a language you don't speak. You might hear sounds, intentions, rhythm, you might feel something, but you don't understand what's actually being said. And the subtlety of the delivery remains out of reach.
Oh, hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. Just take a look at they jottled in his joy. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. Oh, mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe.
And this is not just a metaphor. In neuroscience, we know that perception depends on attention and on what you already know. Two people can hear the same thing and not hear the same thing at all. So yes, listening matters, feeling matters. But what should you listen to exactly? The rhythm, the melody, structure, interaction? Flamenco is layered. If nobody tells you what to listen for, you're just hearing sound, not information. When people say just feel it, they are actually asking you to rely on your intuition. But intuition is not magic. Intuition is trained pattern recognition. And if you haven't learned the patterns first, there is nothing to recognize. So there is no intuition. And that's why this advice fails for so many people. You are being asked to use something that hasn't been built yet. For most learners, especially adults, feeling is not always the starting point. What people call feeling usually comes at the end of the process, after understanding, after repetition, after your brain has organized the material, not before. It is the result of understanding, practicing, and internalizing some things that you once felt external and mysterious. Number 2, just repeat it again and again. It will come. Of course, repetition is essential for integration and internalization. Exercises, steps, falsetas, letras, we need to do things again and again, sometimes thousands of times. No question. But repetition without understanding creates rigidity. You are not learning flamenco, you are memorizing sequences. Flamenco is not a script, it is a conversation. You wouldn't hold a normal conversation using only lines from a play or a poem, right? If flamenco is a language, you need to learn how to form sentences, not just repeat them. And there is another problem. Sometimes you're repeating something that doesn't work, and you think the solution is more repetition. You go to your studio, to your practice room, you repeat the step or the falsetta over and over again. Where is the break here? Between understanding and practice. You are practicing without knowing what you are practicing. But the problem sometimes is not a lack of repetition. It's not technical. It's a rhythmic problem, for example. It's a lack of precision that comes directly from a lack of understanding of where things sit in the rhythm. So you're not fixing the problem, you are reinforcing the mistake. Repetition in that case only anchors bad habits and rigid material. Repetition builds skill. Understanding builds flexibility, adaptability. You need both. Together, they make practice effective. Without understanding, practice creates habits. With understanding, it becomes real learning. And that's where creativity begins. Don't count. Feel it. This is probably my favorite. The real problem, and I talk about it very often, is treating counting and feeling as opposites. They are not. For me, counting and feeling are two halves of the same circuit. One side is the process of counting, the other side is the process of feeling. And until both sides meet, the loop is not complete. Some people feel more easily, others understand more easily. But we all need to complete the circle. Because telling someone who needs to count not to count is like telling someone who wants to run to use only one leg. You count so eventually you don't have to. If you remove the counting effort, you remove access to understanding and to structure itself. You remove your ability to build a system. That's why tools matter. Whether it's counting, fingers, visual systems like Lego blocks or the flamenco clock, whatever you use, these tools help you organize rhythm into a system. Counting is not the goal, okay? It's a tool. Feeling is another. Use both together to make your rhythmic system solid. And only when the system grows, you grow with it. I know that you're going to tell me that there are amazing artists who don't count and they don't even know how to count. And yes, of course they exist, but most of them developed their sense of rhythm as children. And what worked for them doesn't necessarily have to work for you. And another question is, what if they had access to both? to the more intellectual, theoretical aspect of rhythm and feeling and a very strong sense of rhythm. Maybe they could go even further. That's why we should always look at the other side of the circle. If you already have a strong sense of rhythm without needing to count, if you feel things easily, I would still encourage you to complete the loop. Add understanding, add awareness. It will benefit every aspect of your practice, make your learning faster and expand your creativity. Yes, you should. But again, what does that actually mean? Cante is not just something that you feel in the background. It has structure, processing, phrasing, dynamics, logic, a way of functioning. It gives you information. It gives you cues to interact. And if you don't understand those, you're listening, yes, but you're not following. It's like hearing the same poem again and again without understanding a single word. You're listening, but without a framework to decode what you hear. Exposure is not understanding. And listening on its own is not enough. You can listen for years and still not know what's happening, or maybe just develop a vague intuition. But if you don't really know what to listen for in the cante, your attention has nowhere to go. Listening to cante only works if you know what you are listening for, and that can be learned, and I've already made many videos on this topic. Just have fun. This one I actually agree with, but it's not instruction, it's a mindset. You can't really enjoy a game if you don't understand the rules, right? So yes, have fun, but don't confuse enjoyment with a learning strategy. And there is also this myth that you should enjoy everything all the time, and we know that's not real. And this is flamenco, this is hard. So yes, it will be frustrating, you will struggle, you will want to give up many times, as we all do. That's part of the process. It doesn't mean that you should suffer all the time either, but like everything, there is a balance, and the reward is meaningful because it requires effort. Fun does support learning, it improves motivation, attention, and engagement. But have fun doesn't tell you what to understand, how to practice, what to internalize. Fun supports learning for sure, but it doesn't replace it. So, some practical anchor here. Next time you hear one of these, ask yourself, is it an actual instruction or just a slogan? What exactly should I do now? Is this giving me a clear path? Do I have the tools to apply this right now? If there is no clear answer, you are not being guided. You might be inspired but without instructions. And back in your practice room, nothing really changes. Flamenco is not learned through slogans. It is learned through attention, structure, dedication, and time. And there is no shortcut for that. And that's my job, to help you build that process. So if you want support in your learning process, don't hesitate to reach out. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If it helps, don't forget you can always help me by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, spread the word. Also go and visit flamencomaps.com where I explain the way I teach flamenco. I'll see you there. Till then, don't forget, follow instructions, not slogans.